Alright guys, TouchCrummy back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Friday once again so far, and it was only a couple of hours ago really that I was sitting down here talking about John, Hydra, potentially the Force on the New York Subliners, but just after that video went live, Clayster was officially confirmed onto the starting lineup. So Zuma, Mac and Clayster is official now. Going to be going through exactly what this means for the Subliners today, what their future could look like, because of course Clayster coming off the Dallas Empire, back-to-back Call of Duty World Champion, 3-time Call of Duty World Champion overall, winning the championship back in Advanced Warfare, but also of course in the Black Ops 4 season on United, and the most recent World Championship in Modern Warfare on the Dallas Empire. When it went to 4v4, Clayster was forced off of this team effectively and had to find a new lineup. Subliners is one of the best possible homes for him, I believe, and the potential teammates he may be having on this squad gives a legitimate opportunity, I believe, depending on how rosters exactly form for the rest of the season and what the other rosters potentially end up as on this roster mania period. A few of them, of course, and a few of the big contenders are confirmed. The Huntsman, Dallas Empire, of course, we already know, is that former squad of Hook, Illy, Shotzi, plus Crimsix, minus Clayster. Atlanta FaZe are also going to be very competitive indeed, but definitely possible in my opinion that Clayster can make a squad run for another World Championship victory, which would be his back-to-back-to-back 3-time-in-a-row World Championship win. It's not out of the question with this team that is being put together today. Like, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. So about 2 weeks ago now, I put out this video saying that Clayster is set to join the New York Subliners alongside Zuma, Mac plus one. Attach may not remain on the roster. Clayster then came out with, well, this one, another swing and a miss for the Intel accounts. I'm hefty chilling y'all. Thankfully, I was kind of worried at the time, but over the last couple of weeks, I've been more and more confident that this will be the case. Thankfully, it did come true. Otherwise, I would really have an apology to make to you viewers by, you know, talking about rumors that actually don't have much basis in reality. Thankfully, this one did, and, you know, looking forward to seeing you in yellow next season. That is actually how things turn out. Clayster, of course, was baiting the Florida thing yesterday, and he also did confirm about the hat. We'll talk about that in a second that I talked about just a couple of hours ago. But Subliners say coming this fall, of course, I'm referencing Clayster always falling off the map. Back in the day, they put together a nice little montage of it right here. Welcome Clayster to the Andbox official family, hashtag New York Subliners. So he is officially joining the squad. There's a number of big brands in Call of Duty really, and Subliners certainly are one of them, having that New York home series, or having that New York location, I suppose. And definitely a lot of the high profile players want to join a high profile brand, right? They want to join, and Subliners have done pretty well their first season. Nate was talking on the Courage and Nate show yesterday how, like, if I was Los Angeles Guerrillas management, I would be looking to get Clayster into the lineup. But yeah, if you're a guy like Clayster, certainly Los Angeles Guerrillas are in a great location in terms of they're in Los Angeles, that's a big city, but you know, the Guerrillas brand hasn't exactly been fantastic. And if you're a guy like Clayster, you may not necessarily want to join a number of the different teams because you'd prefer to join a team which has a great city and a great brand around it already. And the New York location and the New York franchise really is definitely a valuable one in that sense because of the city it represents. So Clayster joining the Subliners makes sense, frankly, for a number of reasons, and the squad he's got alongside him so far, as we will look at, could be very competitive indeed. Yesterday there was a lot of tweets going around, and I kind of threw my hat into the ring, I suppose, looking at exactly what this could be. It was in the background of the clip, and it was very distorted. Turns out it was indeed a Subliners hat, and as Clayster says, I loved it, threw it back there in the shadows on purpose, and I knew Discord screws up webcam quality, so it legit worked out absolutely perfectly, and as he did intend it to be, so fair play. And Clayster then says the following: extremely proud to announce I am part of the family on the Subliners for the 2021 season alongside Zuma and McNeill, so officially confirming 2 guys on the rest of the squad. We said John potentially is in consideration, Hydra, an amateur player from the French region, potentially in consideration. Clayster considers him to be one of the most talented amateur players in the world, if not the most talented. Let's get this bread, he says. So definitely a team that makes a lot of sense. Reuniting with Zuma. Question is exactly why isn't Attach on this squad? I believe it is the case that Attach actually wanted to go ahead and team with Accuracy once again, so kind of followed Accuracy onto that Minnesota Rocker squad that we looked at. So Attach could have been the 4th here. Not how it's going to work out though. Zuma and Mac being those final 2 on the team. We're of course looking for one more, but Clayster, Zuma and Mac, we'll talk about this as a potential trio today and why it makes a lot of sense, to be honest, especially if you're getting a guy like, you know, John for example, Hydra for example, Pharaoh was considered as well. Those guys could be your flex, Zuma and Mac could be your SMGs, and Clayster leading the troops from the back with the assault rifle in hand. Back-to-back world champion, I think the second ever back-to-back world champion after Karma did it in 2013, 2014 through the Black Ops 2 and Ghost seasons. So Clayster says, one final shout out to Hastro for sending me where I requested to go. I appreciate everything you did for me. I believe Clayster said in an interview with Arda at ESPN a while ago that he had another option on the table, that, well, the contract situation didn't work out because the Dallas Empire extended Clayster's contract, which meant that whatever team wanted to buy him had to effectively buy out that salary and that pretty high profile, and I imagine high amount of money contract from the Dallas Empire, of course. And, well, Clayster talked about that he had another opportunity that he wanted to explore on the table, but that team didn't want to afford that contract, and that may have been, to be honest, the Atlanta FaZe, right? Because Sypien Abizi, I imagine that Clayster, when he ran into free agency, was almost immediately hitting up Sypien Abizi, like, yo, do you want to run it back? World champions, of course, in the 2019 Black Ops 4 season, but maybe Atlanta FaZe thought, okay, maybe that's too much money, we can get Arcetes for maybe less money off the Chicago Huntsmen, because Hector didn't hold him to that contract in the same degree that, yeah, Hastro did at the Dallas Empire. I guess it's business at the end of the day, but Clayster still gets a squad that he's really happy to go on to, that being the Subliners, reuniting, of course, with Zuma. Let's look at some of their career success in just a second. So, well, here it is. Advanced Warfare. At the end of the Advanced Warfare season, they were a phenomenal team, you know, beating the OpTic Gaming dynasty a lot of the time they played. Season 3 playoffs was especially the big one, so the squad of the time was Enable, Zuma, Clayster, and Attach. These three guys teaming in the past definitely, you know, posed the question, why isn't Attach on this team this season? Looks like he decided to follow accuracy, I suppose, onto that Minnesota Rocket squad that we looked at, which is kind of an interesting squad. If the gameplay is quite slow, that team could be great, as we did look at. So Attach, Accuracy, Priester, and Major Maniac is that team, if you guys missed it. But he played with this squad for a large portion of his career, all through the Black Ops 3 days, all through the Infinite Warfare days. But keep in mind, these were the days where he wasn't winning championships, right? He wasn't even winning events, let alone a world championship. Clayster went something like 1,400 days from his, you know, championship win here at Stage 3 playoffs on LAN, all the way to winning his next LAN event, which were the playoffs in the Black Ops 4 season on that E-United squad. So these were the days where they weren't winning championships. They won the PlayStation Invitational, also known as PSX, but that wasn't really considered a big deal. Not all of the top pro teams were there at that event. I think they played like Orbit in the grand final, which was Rated's team at the time, Rated 0, Urban, and like Joe maybe was the squad, pulling that off the top of my head. Hopefully I got that one right. But as you can see, they had decent results throughout Infinite Warfare as this FaZe Clan squad, but they never quite got over the line. So Clayster and Zuma were a great duo back in the day on this team, but as I say, they never quite got over the line since the Advanced Warfare days. However, Clayster seems to be a reformed player to some degree. Not only is he clearly great at developing young talent, which this team may well be full of, certainly with Mac as we saw last season, what he could do in the Modern Warfare days. I mean, he was consistently dropping 1.1s. Temp even said on stream that Mac was the best player on their team last season when he did join the squad. They had 0 early on. That didn't really work out for whatever reason. They got Happy in for some reason, who was their substitute. That was never going to work out. And then they bring in Mac Melts from the amateur side. I think he was on the hybrid black team right at the start of the season at that Minnesota kind of like open event right at the start. He then comes in and proves to be an absolute revelation for this squad. Yes, it was online, but Mac has played on LAN in the past, and who even knows this upcoming season in 2021 how many LAN events we are going to have. I think the current discussion is to have a few LAN events, maybe 2 or 3, at least try and get the World Championships next year in the 2021 season on LAN, but the majority of the season, we're not sure quite yet whether it's going to be run in a LAN environment or online. The situation is still very uncertain, so the question mark is like, you know, okay, Mac Meld, maybe he's online and maybe he's not. Who really cares? If the season is going to be online, then you're going to have to put up with it one way or another, and I'm sure that players as good as Mac Melts is, one day or another they'll get to play on LAN and they will prove themselves to be very, very capable in that environment, as well as the vast majority of players do that are, well, considered onliners at some point in their career. So Clayster's early career was fantastic as well. I mean, we can see back in the Complexity days, all these victories back in the Black Ops 2 season. He was on OpTic Gaming, of course, for a time, won the X Games Invitational, and then won the World Championship in 2015. So certainly one of Call of Duty's greats, and has had something of a renaissance, quite frankly, over the last couple of seasons, winning the World Championships now back-to-back, as we can see right here with the E-United squad of Arcety, Simp, Abizi, and Pristini as it was in the time, and now this season, of course, with Shotzi, Hugin, Illy, and of course Crimsix. So Clayster definitely proving over the last couple of seasons that he can bring this young talent, Simp and Abizi, and now, you know, these young guys here into their own right and get more out of them than other, I suppose, in-game leadership or, you know, veteran-type figures would be able to get out of their young stars. So definitely something that Clayster wants to explore more is to take a player that's proven to be very competent, but even maybe elevate them to the next level and give them the guidance they need and give them the in-game leadership they might need in this 4v4 environment to absolutely thrive. So as Clayster says here, the confirmation is Zuma and Mac Melt will be on this team. So Zuma, of course, and Clayster, as we've looked at, they're a great duo. They go back a long way. Mac Melt, of course, relatively recent player into this team, proved very competent with the SMG, the MP5, or the M4 in hand whenever it was was required. So Clayster certainly looking at Mac and thinking, what can I potentially get out of this guy? Is another World Championship round the corner? We talked earlier today about John potentially coming into this squad. He's of course a World Champion. Pharaoh to be considered. He won Stage 2 playoffs in the World War II days. Definitely a fantastic player. But also Hydra as well from the French region. He's done absolute wonders in the challenger scene this past season. Coming into the professional scene, he will definitely be exploring opportunities either on the Paris Legion or potentially, relatively likely in my opinion, on the New York Subliners as well. Clayster rates him very highly. Clayster and Zuma at this point certainly veterans of the scene. If there's a couple of players that you really want in your scene, yeah, McMelt is certainly one of them after what he proved in the Modern Warfare season, and Hydra, one of the top amateur players in the entire world, is certainly another one. Clayster's done this in the past with similar players that have gone on to be absolutely spectacular talents. I mean, Hukili Shotzi, Simba Nabizi are both back-to-back world champions. Yes, in part due to their own ability, but certainly also in part due to Clayster's guidance to some degree. Can he get it done with McMelt again, and potentially this Hydra guy, or who knows exactly who will be coming into this squad? Certainly not out of the question in my opinion. I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think this potential team with, Clayster, Zuma and McMelt +1 has World Championship winning potential? There's a lot of other great teams out there right now, without doubt. When this team does get confirmed, we can really have a look at whether they can compete in the long run against some of these other fantastic squads that are being formed in the league right now. 4v4, it's absolutely stacked. A lot of these teams are going to be incredibly competitive indeed, and it's very tough to call going into the next season who are going to be the favourites. I imagine the favourites early on are going to be the team that picks up the game as quickly as possible, but down the long run, the veteran leadership may certainly come into play. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you are new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.